Comic Beyond, the Halloween edition. So in this episode, we're going to be covering, or at least reviewing, the original Vampirella issue that she made her first appearance in. So this is my first time picking up this book. It was originally published in 1969, I believe, but this is actually a more current reprint that I have. So what this book is an anthology book, and it's almost, after the first story, which is the introduction of Vampirella, she's almost, kind of like, it's almost like a Tales from the Crypt, type thing, Twilight Zone-ish, where you have somebody hosting the story, so they're there at the beginning being like, oh, this is what's happening, and then by the end, they're like, oh, well, the poor guy didn't make it at the end. So she's like a host throughout the story, or stories, but the first issue is her first debut. So Vampirella is from a planet, at least in the early days, called Draculon, and so this is my first time reading anything original of Vampirella. I've read some crossovers with her that are more modern, and they kind of do away with the Draculon aspect of it. So, right off the bat, though, they really hit you with what Vampirella is. She's a vampire, and she's a beautiful vampire. So the first page in this, well, the second page in this book is her taking a blood shower, basically. And you see Draculon, the planet she's from. So she leaves Draculon and ends up coming to Earth. That's basically her story. But as far as the other stories go, they're kind of interesting. You got Death Boat. This captain's forced to leave his ship, and the last person on, or he was the last person on his ship, but then he's stuck in a raft with this girl who's kind of frantic. Neil Adams of Green Lantern and Batman fame. Really good artist. Met him a couple times at some cons. He actually did the artwork for one of the stories in this called Goddess from the Sea, which was really cool. It's almost like a Creature from the Black Lagoon type story. But the other thing too that I love about this issue, and I would probably want to track down some like originals, I love the art. Like the artwork in this book is amazing. You just don't see it drawn this way anymore as far as art goes. So it really fits the Neil Adams art style. So the book's really based around like creature feature type of esque stories. Like I said, it's an anthology, and the artwork speaks for itself. One of my favorite stories in it is called Two Silver Bullets, about werewolves. I'm a werewolf fan, so I love werewolf stories when they're good. My other favorite probably is the Neil Adams, the Goddess of the Sea portion of it. I just love, it's almost as if they took his sketchbook and made panels out of it. So another thing too, each one of these stories is only like 4 pages long, 4 to 5. So very short reads. The other cool things, at least with this reprint, you see all the old ads from back in the day. So you have an ad to sign up for a subscription for Creepy magazine. Creepy was basically a Tales from the Crypt type story or anthology series. Yeah, but it's a really, really fun book if you like going back to read older stuff. Especially old horror stuff, because it has a little bit of camp to it. There's one issue, let me see what the title is. It's called Spaced Out Girl, or Girls. So this flying saucer lands, and of course there's one guy around to see it. But like 4 or 5 beautiful girls get off the ship and force him aboard. And then the twist ending is they weren't beautiful girls once they got on board. They were these blob-like alien creatures. So that was It reminds me, that there's almost to me like a Twilight Zone type story. The other ad you have in the book is scale model kits for the original monsters. So your Frankenstein, Dracula, Mummy, and all that stuff. Really cool stuff. Getting to see the old ads. Monster World, Monster Magazine, stuff like that. This is a really cool book. Honestly, if I was able to find more of these, probably on a cheap scale, I would probably pick them up. And hands down, just because of the way this book is, I'd probably say this is one of my favorite interpretations of Vampirella. Again, I ain't read much of it, but going back to the original stuff with this issue, sometimes the original is better. So, honestly, I'm probably going to say this is one of my favorite comics. Not just for her, but the artwork and just the way it's put together and presented. Really good book. For the collector's edition, they threw out a tagline, "Look out, she's waiting inside for the first collector's edition for you." And it's the, you might have seen it if you've seen old horror comics or old Vampirella comics, but it's her where she's standing with her legs crossed with one foot on a skull and the backdrop of a full moon. And you kind of see like shadow of like bat wings. Really cool pose. But I just wanted to cover this book because it was fun. It's my first time going through it really and reading it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed old horror. This is up my alley as far as horror goes because I love, 80s on back, 80s, 70s, 60s, 50s. I love all the old horror, even if it is in black and white. Horror is one of my favorite genres. So that's this book, Vampirella, the original issue from July of 1969. It was a very fun comic. I suggest checking it out if you can. And until next time, I'll talk to you later.